The news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
All right, pay attention. The WNBA just discovered the hard reality of attempting to watch Netflix without Wi-Fi. Without Caitlin Clark, life is utterly miserable and unwatchable. Post-season ratings are depleting more quickly than the battery on your phone at 2 in the morning. The league is currently frantically attempting to figure out how in the world to keep fans interested. Did spectators simply flip to pickleball highlights, or did everyone just disappear? I promise you that this playoff catastrophe will be more entertaining than any reunion you've ever seen on reality TV. Thus,
is there any chance that the WNBA, that Cathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership.
I take it that this was the season, the year the WNBA emerged from the shadows and proved to the world that it was a serious contender to the major leagues. However, it seems as though they completely blew their plan, fell face first into a huge pail of nacho cheese, and are now desperately attempting to persuade us that it was all a part of some brilliant culinary theme scheme. Yes, exactly.
A shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle KC found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
Let's take a moment to be honest. The WNBA season has been absolutely terrible, as well as spectacular. You most likely witnessed a commissioner who believes that player health is more of a courteous recommendation when you were attempting to watch a game. Referees wearing legally damaged spectacles appear to have made a crazy number of foul calls and injuries. You most likely clicked away more quickly than you could say Caitlin Clark if you were actually paying attention for entertainment. Speaking of Clark, the defense team used her like a human crash test dummy, essentially turning her ankles into public property. To be honest, she recovered on the bench for longer than she played on the court.
Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
When the most exciting aspect of the season is watching fans anxiously speculate as to whether the league would simply collapse before the playoffs even conclude, you know something is severely off. It's currently barely held together by a small piece of duct tape that has been imaginatively labeled, "Please don't notice how absolutely terrible this is." As a spoiler, everyone took note.
NBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars. For the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like.
Speaking of terrible, may we also discuss this season's officiating? I swear, these referees seem like they were taken from a mall food court during lunchtime. While discussing a blatant foul, they are chomping on what appears to be Sparrow Pizza 1 minute. And then another referee obviously believes they are officiating a roller derby. The consistency falls in between a magic 8-ball and a fortune biscuit. A clear foul is called in one game, but the very next one, someone sneezes too forcefully and is immediately kicked out. To be honest, if these officials had their own player statistics for this season, they would proudly show that every single possession featured 100% turnovers and dubious calls.
WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-popping.
Okay, let's talk about the injuries next. To be honest, this WNBA season feels more like the Christmas wish list of an orthopedic surgeon than a basketball league. For example, Caitlin Clark has been recovering more than playing, primarily as a result of defenders treating her like a debtor. Before the referee notices, each drive to the basket appears to be a brand new episode of How Hard Can We Smash Caitlin? And believe me, they make an effort. But Clark isn't the only victim of this basketball Armageddon. It resembles a communal good from the commissioner's office. When other players suffered injuries, another star went down. Next is Angel Reese, who abruptly quit the WNBA in the middle of the season. It would be a startling controversy in any other sport. However, in this case, it's more of a devastating critique of the league. Since your commissioner can't even manage the league efficiently, why in the world would anyone want to stay? On a sweltering July afternoon, players are dropping like flies while the officials try out for clown school. Ree most likely made the decision to spend her time gaining Instagram followers rather than taking a chance on another tackle during a fictitious basketball game.
Trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Cathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up.
Here's the worst part, though. This isn't all taking place in a vacuum. The WNBA has been pleading for attention for years, hoping to be regarded seriously and not just as a fleeting trend. However, the league isn't advancing its own goals. For instance, the commissioner seems as though following the regulations and protecting elite athletes is simply too drastic, giving the impression that he is allergic to player safety. The finest days were before Clark's accident, when everyone eagerly tuned in to see if the hoopla was genuine. All of a sudden, ESPN seemed to be concerned. In fact, SportsCenter displayed highlights, and even Twitter users pretended to know what a pick and roll was. The WNBA appears to have realized what happens when your entire marketing strategy depends on one player, and your officiating strategy is to simply let her get punched in the face. However, the numbers fell more quickly after she was sidelined than Angel Reese's resolve to finish the season. Now, some devoted supporters may contend that injuries occur. Foul calls are a normal part of the game, and this is just a bad period. To be honest, though, this is much more than simply bad luck. The leadership is inadequate. Like an incompetent substitute teacher, the commissioner has been letting the lesson slide. The league only increased its disdain instead of tackling important issues. Prominent athletes are leaving. Hey, everything is fine. The rep makes games unwatchable. Fans will remain, so don't worry. As you could have suspected, they didn't.
Indiana, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again. And over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do.
As a result, the few players who do stay healthy are compelled to participate in games that resemble professional rugby or wrestling more than basketball. You can't even tell if you're watching a WNBA playoff game or WWE SummerSlam half the time. All you have to do is wait for someone to take a steel chair. The commissioner, meantime, is out there conducting interviews and chatting up everyone about the league's growth and enthusiasm. Yes, and each time I wear high heels, I grow taller. It would be equivalent to calling a house fire a new lighting design to describe this season's growth. It is utterly illogical. Here's the problem, though. These amazing women are still out there giving it their all even when the entire system is crumbling around them. Representatives who officiate sports as if they were at a toddler's birthday party are not worthy of them. They don't deserve to be led by someone who completely disregards their welfare. Furthermore, they most certainly don't deserve to be ignored by a league that only promotes them when it suits them and ignores them when times become hard. With ratings in the toilet, half of the players on the injured list, and fans sincerely questioning whether the league can even make it through another season like this one, the WNBA season is currently limping to a close. Congratulations, WNBA, assuming this was meant to be your season of significant expansion. You have undoubtedly become into the largest man you could be.